thank you guys for coming out, and we'll keep posting the handout every once in a while, because the way the system works, it's only after you're signed on that you can see that. And I'm going to shut up and they say, Swede, take it away, brother. Go yours.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Part of the way through, I got a slide where we discussed, you know, all the automotive stuff and everything. Just another plug, you know, because we really are trying very, very hard. Now, before I start here, guys, I want to come up with a disclaimer. Just so you know, I am not AI. I am not a robot. I am not holistic. I am not autonomous. I am not telematic. I am not Megatronic. Okay, I'm no data collection machine. I had to throw that up. I mean, all you hear, you go online, so all you get is AI, AI, AI. It's going to save the world. What I am, I'm no different than all you guys. You look at my hands. I fix cars, trucks, even if it's got tracks, and I use my hands and my brain. Okay, G does that all the time in all his automotive classes. He comes up with, you know, hey guys, what's your best tools out there? It's your brains. Okay, God gave you those things, so I just want to let everybody know on that. So, you know, so we're gonna get going over here because I'm gonna really push time to see what we're gonna get into, because I'm more of trying to do some live demo stuff. So let's get into our Dorman aftermarket, of course. This is me. Don't worry about me. My biggest concern is that rather than I did this, did that, take my word for it. I've been around a long, long time. Okay. My biggest concern is hopefully that you people walk away with something. What are we going to cover today? We're going to discuss issues, possible reasons related to continuous roadside violations, real world solutions, and they're not really rocket science solutions. The only reason I came up with this subject here is that unfortunately I've been doing this 40-50 years, and these roadside violations, they're the same year after year after year. So fundamentally and basically the industry is doing something wrong. Okay, now if you notice on that slide, CVSA is doing an international road check for May 14th to 16th. Okay, they do that every year. They have a couple, I call them blitzes, call them whatever they are. They're not really blitzes. They're trying to pick a particular area and just kind of talk about gathering data to see and get the pulse of an industry, see what areas are weak. Now, on this particular date that you see over there, they're going to place emphasis on tractor protection systems, and just that's one area. Of course, they're also going to emphasize more on drugs and alcohol, stuff like that too. That's the second area. But anyway, that's why I figured, you know what, this might be a good time to do a live demo on how and why to do check the tractor protection system. It's one of those areas, and even I'll be honest with you, in the regulation books, it's kind of very, very confusing. So we're going to get on this. And again, this slide here, all I'm trying to show with this slide is this is what companies fear the most. I mean, the consequences affect them. There's CVSA scores that affect insurance. It goes on and on and on and on. So I've done other stuff before. If you're not comfortable with this stuff, I think, I believe we did quite a few other ones last year with inspections and stuff. So this is just a carryover on it. Now, just to put it into perspective, this is your industry, guys, okay? In your industry, in the year 2023, okay, enforcement on the roadside, driver inspections, you can see close to 3 million. Vehicle inspections, over 2 million. And you can see on your slide, and you'll have it on your handouts, I'm not going to spend hardly any time on it, they actually put quite a few vehicles out of service. And besides the out of service, all these vehicles, chances are pretty good, had some sort of violations without putting them out of service. Now, this is a reminder again, okay? You are in a commercial motor vehicle industry here. Part 396, inspection, repair, and maintenance. Every motor carrier, its officers, drivers, agents, reps, and employees directly concerned with the inspection or maintenance of motor vehicles shall comply and be conversant with the rules. you don't have a choice. If you work on commercial motor vehicles, guys, this is what you got to do, okay? You need to be conversant, you know, and that's a sticking point too with me. Now, we are looking at, I mentioned the top violations, so this gives you an idea, and I didn't even bother changing it up from 2021 to 2020. I do have all that info. I have it in another set of slides. But if you notice, year after year after year, okay, you have, excuse me, I came down with something this week, but lighting, inoperable required lamps. Guys, periodic inspection, annual inspection, it's either second or third every single year, okay? So you need to ask yourself, why are we year after year having the same problems? It shouldn't be rocket science. And if you look over here, sliding again on top 393.1, no or defective, lights are broken up into all sorts of different areas, you know, and there's a particular part number for each one of them. And you can see it here, lighting, inoperable headlamps. You have it in your handouts. Take it for what it's worth, and that's just the vehicle end of it, okay? Usually if I do full regulations, I have the same thing for the driver's end. Now, why do we keep on having roadside violations and issues? The possible answers? Pre-trip trainings suck. Like I said, I'll probably offend a few people, but that's the truth. They are incomplete and not realistic. And you have to agree with me. If they were perfect or they were better, we wouldn't have all these violations year after year after year. So please bear with me. They are inadequate. Drivers are at a disadvantage. There's all day long. They don't go underneath vehicles. Think about where a good portion of violations derive from. Look at your violations and don't be surprised that a good majority of violations discovered on the vehicle are areas that drivers don't think about or see. Continuation of that, why do we keep on having roadside violations and issues? Again, some more possible answers. Appendix A, that's the Bible for annual inspections in the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Regulations, they're inadequate. State inspection programs, they're inadequate. And I shouldn't say that they totally suck. There's good stuff in there. The only problem is they don't keep them up, and there's some things that need to be changed. But with both these programs, and by the way, 23 states in the United States their annual inspection meets the requirement of the federal Appendix A annual inspection. So it's not just like my state, New York State, it's 23 states. The big problem is this, guys. There's no available trainings on annual inspections. If I had my way, you've seen me doing classes. I do 2-day break courses. G does classes all over the country and stuff. If I had my way, I would come up with a training class that does nothing but annual inspections, 2-3 days at a minimum. I know what I'm talking about because unfortunately, and not unfortunately, I shouldn't say unfortunately, I get a lot of calls, you know, from guys all over the place. They're over there, hey, Swede, I got this truck in here. I found this. Am I supposed to reject it? Am I supposed to pass it? Well, wait a minute. I don't write the regulations, and don't get me wrong. Oh, guys, if you ever have an issue, please call me. I enjoy it because it forces me to do the research, but you know where I'm getting with this. Ask yourself, where do many of the violations derive from? Only in a walk around? More time and effort is needed to emphasize annual inspections and incorporating inspection concepts and criteria. That inspection criteria, all that stuff, it should be in everybody's preventive maintenance program. It should be part of it if it isn't already, you know. But in order for it to be part of it, you have to have a clear understanding of what's required for annual inspections. Now, a great source for those of you that have to do this work on commercial motor vehicles, and you know you want to get a little bit more comfortable with roadside and what's happening there, is CVSA, Commercial Vehicle Safety Alliance. They're a great source for roadside inspection info. A lot of good stuff in there. Okay? They're the guys, they're the entity that comes up with that annual out of service criteria book to have. General Psych, believe it or not, and info is free. Okay? There is a member link, and you can go on CVSA.org. I'm going to come back to that slide in a second here. I'm going to flip over to my third camera. What do you think, G? Worked out pretty good? That book over here, the 2024, that's an example of the out of service. Out of service means that if an enforcement guy goes in that book and finds some defects that meets the criteria in there, that vehicle is done. It's not going anywhere. Now the freebie is this Guardian magazine, and I'm gonna throw myself a little bit of a bone here, okay? They are gracious enough, believe it or not. They're one of the few people that, even though I'm just a little itty bitty guy, believe it or not, they published a few of my articles in there, you know, and this goes out to enforcement people. So I just wanted to, you know, hey, give me myself a little bit of attaboy from a small company. G already got into this. Guys, the reason you're able to watch this here is because of Dorman Products, okay, and G Trugula. They worked at it together. Actually, G took helm of their trainings. Dorman Products, they truly are a great source for trainings related to maintenance diagnostics of all vehicles, and I had to put in there include a heavy because I'll give you a little bit of history. G has been doing the automotive side with Dorman all over the country, all, you know, and he called me because him and I go back a long way. He says, you know, hey, how would you like to do some stuff on heavy duty? So I says, G, I love to work with you. I mean, can't have anybody better to work with. So again, he already mentioned we are gonna look at doing some more stuff, but I want you to know, okay, that training he provides, it's all over the country. He travels. I've never seen anybody travel more than him. He's got a team of automotive trainers, par none. So if you ever have any kind of a question or want any kind of a training, take my word for it. We will put it together and we'll make it happen for all you guys, okay? And again, he already said it can be posted on YouTube. So now, federal annual inspections, okay? Windshields are a hard read. I'm going to give you an example here. New York State, substitute your own state here. Recheck if there is a crack more than 11 inches long, any part of which extends into the path of windshield wipers. Verify your own state criteria. This is just an example. So if you have Appendix A, any crack not over 1/4 inch wide, if not intersected by any other crack. New York, star larger than 3-inch diameter. Appendix A, any damaged area not more than 3/4 inch in diameter, if not closer 3 inch to any other such damaged area. So here is the problem. Okay? This company wanted a New York State heavy duty inspection to substitute your own, see your own criteria in your state, and an annual inspection. That happens quite often. Believe it or not, this truck passed a New York State inspection, but not the federal inspection. Okay? So that's my point. We're not kind of like, we need to be on the same page quite often. And I mean, that's one of my pet peeves over here. Yeah, this is going to sound like sour grapes. Believe it or not, the feds have an advisory committee on regulations. So unfortunately, if you're a big company or association, chances are good that for the 2-year term, you can go in there, you know, and you can probably, you know, give input or help change some of the regulation stuff. The problem again is you need to be, you can't be like me. I tried once. You can't be a little person like me. You have to be somebody that's big with titles and all that stuff. So yeah, most certainly read into it what you want. So there's my sour grapes out of the way here. Now, is there anything wrong in this picture? And again, I'll give you 2 seconds over here, okay? I'll give you 2 seconds. If you look closely, I can even try to get my magnifying glass. Okay? Basically, the hint is follow these lines here. Okay, so Do not take this personally. I'm trying to make a point here. If you are the one doing safety driver training, you should know. If you deal with regulations, you should know. If you do annual inspections, you should know. If you do roadside inspections, you should know. If you are a driver, you should know. If you have anything to do with inspections, maintenance, you should know. Okay? Suggestion. If you're all those people and you don't know, you need to collaborate with your maintenance people, okay? The bottom line is safety is a team effort. And if you wanted to know what's wrong with, somebody changed the chamber at one time and they got the hoses in the wrong place. The supply hose is going to the relay valve, in this case the ABS control valve. Okay? It slipped through I don't know how many people, how many different entities. And that's my point. This is one of the reasons we have issues out there. Okay? Having a thorough understanding of all systems components is one of the first steps in reducing roadside violation. This does not mean that all the above mentioned must be a technician. That's not what I'm saying. However, if you have responsibilities related to vehicle and safety, you need the full picture. Having a title doesn't make you proficient at your job. Commercial vehicle enforcement, okay, they start their careers with training and it doesn't stop until they are retired. Okay? Training is huge. Okay? Yes, I'm biased for training. If you notice, G is biased with training. It benefits everyone. Knowledge prevents shooting off the hip. Look, it's a win-win for everyone in the industry. You don't ever want anybody shooting off the hip and giving violations when they're not justified. Eh? And this is a perfect sample. Here, I'm doing a 2-day brake class, and if you notice closely, there's a couple of state troopers in there. They just started their career, and throughout my years of doing brake classes, for example, I invite them in, and they love it. It gives them the perspective of actually how the brake system is meant to work, beyond just the inspection portion of it. Eh? Here's another one with drivers. This from my town over here, town of Tonawanda. That one, that kind of bluish gray one, that's a SWAT vehicle for SWAT teams. The other one, they just purchased a tan one. That's going to be between SWAT and EMS. So what happens is, the chief of police down in my Tonawanda here, Jim Staufficker, he used, believe it or not, used to be commercial vehicle enforcement too. He believes, and if he's going to have these guys out there, okay, think about that. They're emergency guys. They need training. They want to make sure that they know that vehicle inside and out. Because again, they hop in the vehicle and it doesn't start, and there's an emergency, something. Just think about it. Here you are, you're calling them or you're relying on them, whether it be whatever. Vehicle doesn't start, air doesn't build up. That kind of sucks a little bit. So he wants to make sure that everybody, no matter who is in that SWAT team or whatever. So I put together a driver SWAT team emergency training for them with the EMS guys. It worked out great. You know, they actually I had them go underneath. I had them drive it and get a thorough understanding of vehicle. And that's what it should. Yes, I'm coming across bias for training. This slide here, I've used them in some other stuff over here. Right? And basically, if you look over here, this came in for annual inspection from a fleet with a shop, safety people and so on. Look at the angle of the push rod on this newly installed chamber. Look. This is question. If you are the safety person, owner, manager, would you be able to find this yourself? Explain this and train your people how to find this for pre-trip training. More important, who needs to take responsibility for this? Okay? And I'll use an analogy over here. So I have a shop. I have guys that do New York State inspections. If my guy screws up, okay, and the DMV people come in there, of course my guy's going to be in trouble, but I am going to be in trouble too. The reason I'm going to be in trouble is because I hired these guys. It is my job as the owner of O&K Truck Repairs to make sure that my guys are doing the inspections properly. And that's what I threw out there. You know, there's a reason for everything. This same vehicle, but other side, push rods in the right hole. What WTF happened to common sense, you know? So, but anyway, I can go on and on another inspection. And again, my question always is why? Why is this happening? Eh? Food for thought. 80% of issues we encounter are man-made. Why? Can we do better with more and more? We've used that coinage of since you worked on it last for years, okay? And a lot of it is, you know, it's like, wow, didn't have this problem till you worked on it, you know? So again, take it for what it's worth. Okay? Periodic inspection. This regulation required a commercial vehicle operating in interstate or foreign commerce pass an inspection. And I'm not going to spend much time because I'm dying to get on the live stuff. They are met through periodic inspections. You have them in your handout, okay? And if you get into the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Regulation book, okay, everybody should get a copy of this, okay? I'm going to switch over here a little bit, okay? This book right here. Guys, this is your Bible. You know, they got in pocketbooks. They're small books. I have it someplace here, you know. They're not expensive. And it always amazes me when I do these classes, see, you know, where you get your eyeglasses. Make sure you got good reading with these things over here. But every time I do brake classes and stuff, part of it is regulations. It's like, nobody has been in there, but yet that's what dictates how we work on these vehicles. So, you know, anyway, go through it, you know, get one of those books. They're cheap, you know. And again, there's a continuation here in the 396.17, 396.19. Okay? It lists out, you know, what you have to do, the 14 inspection areas required of your annual inspection, okay? And we'll get into a couple of them, lighting and stuff, you know. Very important concept. Get comfortable with the regulations, part 393 and 396 and Appendix A. Okay? Those are your main areas. Believe it or not, if you're doing inspections, the reason you're doing heavy-duty annual inspections, it's in that regulation book, and in the 396.19, it tells you the qualifications. And again, you can go into the book. I'm not going to spend much time, but you just can't go there and do inspections, and you have to be qualified. Okay? Even if you work, and I flipped the slide, even if you work on brakes, believe it or not, there's a section that deals with brake inspector, and the qualifications are very, very similar to that. Okay? Now, I'm going to leave the last thing with that portion here. This is a guidance. I do that every time I do brake courses and stuff, okay? Every time I do that, I see I'm trying to look at that too, rubbing of lines. We're going to get to that, and you know, we'll get to a few things. Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome. I see Mike Kotorba. You know, him and I communicate a lot, so didn't mean to veer away from this. But look, walk away with this. The question, may an inspector certify a commercial motor vehicle as meeting the periodic inspection standards of 396.17 if she cannot see all the components required to be inspected under Appendix A? This is the guidance. No, the affixing of a decal or sticker or preparation of a report as proof of inspection indicates compliance. Let me interpret this. Okay, they probably don't care if you pull a wheel, if you crawl underneath there and look at it. What you need to walk away from this little slide over here is when you put that sticker on, and that means you probably put your name on it. When you put your name on that inspection, you are saying that vehicle is safe. You're in compliance with all the requirements of Appendix A. keep that in mind, because if something ever happens and you signed your name off, guys and gals, okay, somebody can come back at you if you didn't actually do a good inspection. That's the sad part of the world. So now, is anything wrong? If not sure, where would you find this? Okay, and I'm not going to have you go there because this goes into a longer regulation thing. You'd probably have books, and I would tell you where to go with this thing. What you're going to do is you're going to go in 393.11, table 1, okay? And just to save a little time, if you can scoot over here, this is what basically looks like. You can zoom right in on some of the stuff. This is a huge chart I keep in the shop to help everybody out. So you have numbers over here, any type of a vehicle you can see over here, any type. I mean, just look at it, dump trucks, trailers down here, if you zoom out a little bit, you know, everything. Then you take the corresponding numbers and then you go by this table over here, and they will tell you this light has to be there, this light has to be here, it has to be red, it has to be amber, all that stuff. The height is here and there. You cannot go wrong. Anybody's vehicle comes in, you know, you will have it on the money. And when I spend time once in a while on the roadside with these guys, with the enforcement guys, their books are tabbed, okay? Because they will come across a vehicle, it's like, something just doesn't look right, okay? And they'll sit there and they'll go through it and verify, make sure, before they write it up as a violation, was it a genuine violation, okay? So we're going to move on with this thing over here, and that's what that was about. By the way, what is wrong over here? Anybody? Kevin, I saw you on there before. Type it in. I'll give you 2 seconds. Amber light. Ryan, you got it. Okay. Of the exposed wires, I'm going to wrong color. Okay, guys. Nice, nice. Brand new truck. You're doing an annual inspection. Is there anything wrong? To save time, yes, there is, okay? It's a chassis. Somebody put that little tank on there, and I'll walk you through this, okay? They needed some reflectors. There was no reflectors in the back, okay? Side were controversial. The length doesn't necessarily required, but we put them on anyway, then there's no questions. However, it came in for inspection. Now it can pass because you install reflectors that should have been there from the factory. Now, here on this next slide, what happened is there are marker lights, okay? They are reflective lights. So before I jump the gun, okay, we look at the light. We get right nose to nose in that light. If it has an A on it, that means it's okay. I don't need a reflector there. The light acts as a reflector. This did not have an A on. So if you're working with lights, you need to get comfortable with some of that stuff. You need to get comfortable with you know, what's a PC light, what's a P2 light, and so on and so on, you know. So what are you seeing here? Would this pass an annual inspection? Would this pass a pre-trip? Would this be a violation on the roadside? Could you get a ticket for this? What happens here is, this is a perfect example. If you look over there, if you look at the left, right, I'm trying, I guess it's on the left side, the driver's side, the rear tail light. There's only 3 LEDs. I mean, that common sense, I would replace that. But however, a question I often get is, listen, I got like 9, 12 LED lights, 1 or 2 are out. Is that a rejectable? Well, this is where we have an issue. According to the federal regulations, it is not a violation, okay? New York State, however, for years had in their regulations for annual inspection, every light has to work correctly. In my mind, this vehicle comes in, the light is not working correctly. You got a LED out. I know you can fight me all day long on this, okay? The other issue is too, I said, could you get a ticket for it? So, okay, so you were not going to write a violation. However, traffic law-wise, okay, an officer could. It's one of those like, you know what? I'm 500 feet behind you and I can't see this. Bango, you get a traffic light. I mean, I have more pictures and slides and stuff. And Kevin Murphy, before he retired, he's one of the guys on chat box, we used to throw around a lot of the light issue stuff. We see him on the road all the time. I mean, Bobby, the one doing the camera, he used to be commercial motor vehicle for. Every time we go out for coffee Saturday mornings, we see these guys with the green lights, blue lights, and everything else. It's like, really? You know, you're not supposed to do that. You're an Uber driver, you know? So, but anyway, I can make a long thing just out of that, you know? Now, why do we have problems with lights? But the lights were working when I did a pre-trip, okay? But the lights were working when I did a PM. What happens is I'll get fleets call me and they'll say, listen, lights are such an easy hit when it comes to on the roadside violations. I get hit with these lights constantly. Well, this is where maintenance comes in, okay? If you're happy for somebody to do an inspection or whatever, just walk around, hey, turn on the lights, they're on, fine, okay? But if you want to prevent some of that stuff, you need to give your guys time. Understand, you know, it's a little bit of a cost. Do not just look at the lights, but actually pull, and this is just an example, pull off the connector, okay? Look at the wiring and stuff. And I'll guarantee you, if you do that, excuse me, and you incorporate that in your PM program, you're going to reduce those light violations like there's no tomorrow. Okay, because unfortunately what happens, I'll give you an example. A driver will walk around, my light is on, and the first time they hit a bump on the road, guess what? You lose a connection. You guys that work on this wiring and stuff, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know, I mean, we've talked about, I've done some stuff on diagnostics and lights and voltage drops and LEDs and stuff. So, you know, that's huge. All of these are a problem, or they will be future issues, or do you just look to see that the lights work? Good inspection needs to be the catalyst to prevent problems, and that's what this is about. How can I avoid these roadside violations that crop up every single year, the same violations? Very important concept. Maintenance people play a crucial role reducing or eliminating violations. How? They need to be included in any driver pre-trip training. We're neglected. The maintenance guys, nobody thinks about using the maintenance guys for the safety portion of it. I sit in some boards, I'll be very honest with you, and I get into trouble because I get a little bit outspoken. And if there's safety people and everything in there, you know, managers, whatever, the whole thing is when it comes to reducing violations, oh, this is big, we get nailed and everything else. Oh, we give our drivers bonuses and stuff whenever they have clean inspections. We give our drivers this, we give our drivers stuff. And this is what gets me in trouble. I'll turn around, okay, and I've had people actually walk out on me, and I'll tell, well, what are you doing for the mechanics? What do you mean, what do you do? If your driver got a clean inspection, the only reason they got a clean inspection, you had some mechanic, technician, okay, that was underneath the vehicle and made sure there was no issues. So again, I'm asking the question, how are you rewarding your technicians? And I'll leave it at that, okay? So pre-trip inspections, and I get that question. Somebody will ask me, says like, where would I find a pre-trip for drivers? Driver is asking. Well, here it is. It's a 392.7. But that list is not enough. All it does is spell out, look at your tires. Oh yeah, I got 10 tires, they're black and round. Look, you gotta work with your drivers. You gotta make sure that everybody also gets in 393 section, and I mean, we can go on and on with this thing, okay? So basically, pre-trip requirements are found in the following sections. Part 392 charges the driver to be satisfied. But if a driver's going to do a good pre-trip, if you want to be a good safety manager, if you want to be a good owner and everything else, you need to get in that 393 and 396. That spells the criteria out for everything. This one here, I use this. This is, by the way, just a violation sheet. It's on top. I said, what is the criteria for out of service? On axle, right side, older tire tread, 232 seconds. Okay, is it a violation? You'll see over there, no. Okay, what would make it a violation? This 230 seconds. Okay, it's a violation, but what would make it an out of service? Okay, Now, down here, axle 5 side outer tire has a noticeable audible leak. So yes, that's an out of service. And this blue one here, cluster multiple brake hoses to sliding rear axle are chafing in multiple locations. It is not a out of service, but you just racked up some violation. Now, on the bottom I have, is the violations with hoses preventable? And again, who would be responsible for this? I know I'm going, left side mud flap dragging on ground. Red lamp bad left side. Absolutely. Okay. Kevin Murphy wrong wire, and so on and so on. Here, air leak when driver applied service brakes. Air leak was very audible. Even with truck running. Also, kink hole did not happen just then. Preventable? Absolutely. Maintenance and better training. Are these okay? And somebody's going to say, yeah, no, that's a violation over here. Zip ties. No, it's not a violation, but it is a good maintenance practice. Why would you zip tie these? Because these hoses are dynamic and you will chafe these. And someday if somebody pops that zip tie off or it breaks off, you will have some chafing in there. So the next thing is I will get some phone calls. I've got them throughout the years. Man, every time I send my trucks out, I get hose violations. How the hell can I eliminate that? It's not rocket science. These hoses are only 13, 14 bucks a piece. They're very, very cheap. Okay? They're very cheap. But you see these clips over here? They're 75 cents a piece. Give your maintenance people some time, invest a little money, and tell them every time a vehicle comes in here, what I want to do is take all these hoses out, put new hoses, make sure they're separated, and you will never have issues, of course, until the next guy to change the chamber. This one here, to be fair, driver might not find this unless someone shows a driver what bad looks like. And that's my point here. Pre-trip training. How would a driver know if anything's bad until somebody takes him by the hand and actually says, hey, this is bad? Tires. Like I said, I'm pretty sure I'm going to do one of my lunch and learns on tires, suspension, steering. Okay. All I'm asking this question, how knowledgeable are you regarding tires? Where would you find this information? 393, Appendix A, Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standard, 571.19, and so on. New York, your state, manufacturers, tire manufacturers, associations, OSHA. Okay? These are questions meant for everyone, whether you're a driver, technician, safety person, owner, manager, enforcement, people writing the regulations. But the bottom line is, look, guys, do you look between the sidewalls? Do you look between the duals? Why not? Because that enforcement guy most certainly will. Okay, we're back to the same thing. You're standing back on that truck and you say, oh, yep, tread looks pretty good from here. They're round and they're black. And then they get pulled over, and then of course you get your violations. This one here I always loved. You're doing a pre-trip, you're doing annual inspection, and what happens is, say for example you got some bad couple treads over here, you give it your blessing, and of course the vehicle is going to go out. You might have your inspection sticker on, might be a pre-trip, and that vehicle, the driver is going to get pulled over, and of course the officer's going to say, stop right there. I'm going to give you a roadside inspection. And Murphy, I don't mean to abuse your name, but Murphy's Law, where will that bald spot be? Before, when you did the inspection, it was on the bottom, right on the road. It's going to be where? Staring that officer in the face. And the first question of the officer, hey driver, did you do a pre-trip? Oh, I noticed there's a new sticker on there. Not rocket science. How many pre-trips have been performed on this vehicle? Has this been a shop? Blah, blah, blah. I'm going to skip this. Missing or broken, because I'm looking at time here. Missing, broken mechanical components, including shoes. I won't really skip. I still got plenty of time. This one here, okay, and basically what's happening over here is, if you look at the shoes, okay, the shoes are almost 80-90%, but what's missing, guys? There's a roller missing, and so on and so on. You know, did that just happen yesterday? we're back to the pre-trips. Can we do a better job on this? And of course, when we slam on the brake and put a tape measure on it, hey, driver, step on the brake, it's gonna shoot right out, okay? So again, all this slide is meant to do missing, broken, mechanical. Is driver responsibility. You'll see it over here. Driver responsibility. I put that box, CSA, wait for, yes, that's going to change, guys. I'm not going to get into it right then. Okay, the point values will make it a little bit easier for the drivers. They're working on making it only a visual walk around, and that's when you would get points. But my point being on this was that, look, let me back up again. Sorry. My point being is, in out of service criteria, it says missing, broken mechanical components, shoes, lining, pads, springs. It's in your handout. When's the last time a driver went underneath there and looked at that, or even knows what those components look like? Now we're going to get into the emergency and breakaway brakes. There's a basic requirement. Motor vehicle used to tow a trailer equipped with brakes must be able to use its service brakes to stop the vehicle if the trailer breaks away. To accomplish this, the towing vehicle utilizes a tractor protection valve or similar device. Okay, and the only reason I threw this in here, just to make sure, because if you get into regulations, you hear like towing and so on. The motor vehicle is the towing vehicle. The trailer is the towed unit, you know. Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standard 121 air brake system requires towing vehicles to be protected from the effects of pressure in a towed vehicle. Okay? Towing vehicle protection system, you know, and if you ever get into those things here, let me get my face out of the way. If the vehicle is intended to tow another vehicle equipped with air brakes, a system protects air pressure in the towing vehicle from the effects of a loss of air pressure in the towed vehicle. Basically, a tractor protection valve protects the tractor service air in the event of a trailer breakaway. Believe it or not, there's two parts to this system. One, protect the towing unit service brakes in the event of a breakaway, and provide a means of activating the emergency trailer brakes. Now, let's flip into that green book, the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Regulation. Towing vehicle protection. Every motor vehicle, if used to tow a trailer equipped with air brakes, shall be equipped with means providing that in the case of a breakaway of the trailer, service brakes on the towing vehicle will be capable of stopping the towing vehicle. For air brake towing units, the tractor protection valve or similar device shall operate automatically when the air pressure on the towing vehicle is between 20 psi, 45 psi. Okay, this is spelled out, guys, but it is very, very confusing. Every truck or tractor equipped with air brakes when used for towing other vehicles with air brakes shall be equipped with two means of activating the emergency feature of the trailer brakes. One of these means shall operate automatically in the event of reduction of the towing vehicle air supply to a fixed pressure which shall not be lower than 20 psi, no higher than 40 psi. Okay, the other shall be manually controlled. You know what? I'm going to do it a little bit differently. I'm going to real fast, the second part, as long as you got it in your handout over here, every truck automatically. So let me do something here. You're going to have to follow me, Bobby. Okay? So I'm going to build up my airboard here. I'm not going to contend with the trailer over here yet. Okay? We'll take it baby step at a time. Okay? So if you look over here, Bobby, I'm getting it up to 120 pounds. Okay, I want to do something. That last paragraph between 20 and 45. I'm going to push I'm not going to worry about the trailer. I'm only going to push my tractor button in. Okay? I just want to make sure it's in. And if you saw it, I'll pull it out again. If you do, go down over by the chamber here. Okay? You know it works. Okay? It came out. I give it air. I step on the brake. I'm going to have brakes. So what I'm going to do right now, guys, here is I'm going to try to cover my microphone. It's going to be loud. Okay? I'm going to drain my primary air. And you can see the air going down. This is going down. This is staying up. And by the way, the reason this is staying up is because I have one-way check valves over here. If they weren't working, this would go down. And I use this concept for something else. If you probably revisit some of my other ones on brakes, I'm pretty sure I gave you a different point of view on it, you know. So now I am down over here, right? My primer is down, right? But my brake chamber did not come out. The reason it didn't come out, I have a two-way check valve here, so it's utilizing this. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to slowly bleed this down. So if you want to watch this a little bit closer here, okay, this gauge over here, Bobby, okay, on my secondary, I'm coming down. I'm going to have to quickly try to do a couple of things here. I'm going to accelerate the down. Just about right here, you're going to hear a pop. Okay. Park brake came up, button came out, and what happened, I met the regulations, that last part, between 20 and 45 pounds. And that's what's confusing with everybody. So I'm going to get back to the slide over here, because I want to get to that second part. So that was that one in the red. Every truck tractor automatically activated. That was my yellow button. Breakaway braking requirements for trailers. Every trailer required to be equipped with brakes shall have brakes which apply automatically. And we're going to do that on the breakaway. They better come on. But do you notice over here it says every trailer, didn't specify air, okay? And that's why I also have over here, what? A small trailer with a breakaway. And does this not make sense? The breakaway works with what? You got to have a battery, right? An electric brakes on that particular type of trailer. The battery better be strong enough to what? Keep the magnet on and position the park for at least 15 minutes. Okay? So I want to make sure everybody understands that. So again, yellow button, no regulation specifying pressure at which this supply must automatically trip to apply vehicle parking brake. However, it does require single control of the park valves on a combination unit. Okay? And I'll probably do that too. Then the red button controls the tractor protection control valve. It is intended to activate the tractor protection when both primary and secondary reservoirs on towing vehicles depleted between 20 and 40. Now I'll be very honest, I'm going to do this on the board. I have two other boards. My button is going to pop off immediately, but the regulation gives you that leeway over here on the bottom. If the valve fails to close before 20, it's an out of service violation. Okay. Emergency brake way, that's what I'm going to do. This is my other board. I just kind of showed, put a picture in there. Two means activating, automatically, manual means, okay. Yellow button is system park. So that tractor protection valve that I'm going to play with all day long, where your supply goes in, that's open, whether you have the park button in or not, just, you know, and I can spend time on that too. So let's do this, okay? We're going to do a live demo here. Let me get the camera on me, okay? So I'm going to build up the air. This is my tractor. This is my trailer. You can back up a little bit, okay? So I have a combination unit. I hooked up to the trailer. I backed into the trailer. Okay. I released the brakes. Of course, you know the yellow button, whether it be a straight truck or whether it be a tractor truck. That's your park for the truck, tractor, whatever. Then the yellow button is for your trailer. So now I'm building up air, okay? And if you watch down there, my brakes will start releasing, okay? I'm getting up there, and usually on a trailer, they probably don't start releasing until you get at least about 100 pounds or so, you know, and that's where some brake linings get a little bit worn because the drivers, they kind of try to pull away a little prematurely while the brakes are dragging. They figure 60 pounds and I can just take off. That's not the case with a trailer. Okay? So now, just to prove a point, They're all released. I step on my brakes. All my brakes work, right? I'm going down the road. I'm a happy camper. And I'm on a busy three-way highway, okay? Say, for example, let's pick, I'm close to Canada, Queen E-Way, you know, 3-4 lanes going each way. So I'm kind of in the middle lane, tooling around, doing 65, 75, 85. Yeah, I got a lead foot. So I'm going down the road, okay? And all of a sudden, I hear a thump, bump. What the hell happened here? My trailer came off, and believe it or not, it can happen. I've been on service calls where a guy's gone 10 miles and all of a sudden the trailer came off, just hit the right bump or whatever. But however, when that trailer comes off, what's going to come off, right? The lines. They're going to pop off. Right? Now watch my button here, my red button. It just popped. It's little over 60 pounds, 70 pounds. Like I said, my other boards will pop immediately, okay? But you'll also notice that my park brake didn't come on. My trailer brakes did come on, okay? I want them to come on. This thing's got 40,000 pounds on it. I'm in the middle of the road. Take my word for it. If my brakes don't lock up with that mass, okay, this trailer will go, okay? And can you imagine cars on either side of the trailer? Nobody knows what, this thing's gonna have a life of its own. We just recently happened that one with the bridge, right? Didn't we? Took that ship, he lost all the power and stuff. That mass. Believe it or not, the applied force when that ship hit that bridge was like 30 million pounds of applied force. I do the applied force when I do my brake courses, 1,800 pounds coming out with that spring coming out. Can you imagine a million? No wonder that bridge went down. But regardless, I don't give a shit if those landing legs come down like this. Do not move. The other thing, I'm glad this park brake didn't come on and I have air in here, okay? And what's gonna happen is my heart went like this. I'm looking in the rearview mirrors. My first goal is, in a controllable fashion, get out of here so I don't become an issue. In a controllable fashion, get over to the side of the road, okay? Grab my lunchbox, you know? Get out of the freaking truck and start freaking walking, okay? Never look back because I'm done. I'm fired. Because why? I did not do my job. I did not make sure that fifth wheel was locked. My primary and secondary lock, I did not check them. I did a little bit of a tug, maybe, okay? Maybe I had enough grease and everything in there, it just didn't come apart. And I'm like, oh, wow, it's locked. Let me book down the freaking road, you know? That's why, just kidding. So on the roadside, to check for this, because what happens is that when I step on the brake here, this is my biggest opening that I can ever come up with. If I step on the brake, okay, and let me do that. Let me just put this on over here. Okay? Give you an idea. I'll build it up with air. Okay? I'll put this in over there again. Okay? Now, I'm in normal driving mode. I'm going down the road. Okay, this is hooked up to my trailer. When I step on that brake, okay, and I'll try to put it near my mic. This has huge air coming out of it. I mean, it is huge. This opening is huge. What I don't want is when this pops again, okay, my line comes off. What this tractor protection does is, now when I'm disconnected, okay, I lost my air, my button is out. Every time I step on the brake, I can't have air coming out of here, okay? It protects the tractor service air. So real fast, the way they do it is, all right, so if you're a driver or even if you're in a shop, this is how they do it on the roadside. All right? You have both your buttons in, okay? Wheels are chalked up. The officer's gonna go up to you and say, listen, I'm gonna do a tractor protection check over here. Show me where your gauges are. Because why would the officer want to know where the gauges are? The officer wants to know where gauges are because the regulation said what? It needs to pop before it does what? Hit 20 pounds, doesn't it? Okay? And you notice that the first thing I did at 20 pounds, my application valve did not pop. It tripped. I gave that leeway. So we're combining it with that concept here. So now the officer's going to tell the driver, do me a favor. You go out there. I'm going to watch the gauge. When I tell you to pop this line, going to pop this line, okay? I did it in a hurry, and the pop came up, and I gave it a little help just to save time. But you saw before at 60 came up. Then I'm going to tell that driver, do me a favor, you go inside there, okay? And I want you to step on the service brake. So the driver's going to go inside there, and the officer's going to go like this. No air came on, you're fine. If that button did not trip before it reached 20, you're out of service. If he steps on the brakes and air comes out, you're out of service. And of course, it's a no-brainer. You could hear the trailer brakes come on, okay? There is a provision in there that you can't have any feedback either. The feedback, believe it or not, is not a out of service violation either. It's just a notation. Listen, you got a feedback on there. That's how it gets checked. And most drivers, you know, I see that Swede is funny, grab lunchbox and start, you know. But anyway, that's where that's at. So let's slowly wrap this up. Air disc brakes. They're predominant, not a predominant, but they've really surely captured the market. I believe they got about 30% of the market. This is one of those areas. I did a whole thing on disc brakes, and we get complacent. Disc brakes, oh, I don't have to look at it. There's no push rod stroke, you know, but you really should, okay? Following quick checks should apply to any involved with inspection. Look, you still gotta treat it. Do not, just because it's a disc brake, because if you don't do it, okay, that officer down there is gonna do it. You need to treat the system same as you have for all the years with drum brakes, okay? Check for leaks, hoses, diaphragms, fittings. You got a chamber there, you see hoses over there. Check condition, placement, check for leaks, oil, grease, seals, hubs, damaged components, chambers, brackets, and so on and so on, okay? Treat it like you have all these years. Now, again, what do you see here? And this is where I want to make my last point. What do you see here, and can you explain this? Does a driver know how this chamber works? Whoops, let me back up. And I don't know if you can see it, but do you know how this brake chamber and air system works? If not, why are you driving? Doing inspections, conversing about safety regulations. I'm being harsh, guys. I am being very, very harsh. But you know what? I've earned the right to do that after all these years. I started working on trucks when I got back from Vietnam. That's been my whole life, between the trucks, the training, cars, working on this stuff. And I have seen probably most of you, that more than most of you guys, I've seen the roadside violations throughout the years, the same stuff over. I've listened to the bullshit from everybody out there. I do this, I do that, we have this. Then why are we still having the same problems? This, again, is not a put down. This is meant to be a wake-up call for the whole industry. It doesn't have to be this way. Look, at the end of the day, safety happens between the tire and the road. We don't know what we don't know. I personally, okay, I'm very fortunate because of what I do, working on this stuff. I have ran fleets. I've been on the operation end of it. I've worked with enforcement people, and I'll be very honest with you, I am constantly trying to learn. I am constantly learning, okay? If I don't know it, I'm going to find somebody that does, okay? And that's huge with this industry, and this is why I love working with G and Dorman Products, because they're actually trying to get the real message out. This isn't a little 5-minute little that gets a million hits, that gets a million hits on YouTube. Oh, this is how you take a chamber off, you know. And after a while, I'm starting to feel a little like, what the shit, nobody cares. I get maybe a couple hundred guys hitting on these 1-hour YouTubes, but that's okay. You can't have a fire without starting a flame, guys. So, but anyway, we're just about there. Questions? Shoot them to me, but at the same time, I'm going to leave this one here, okay? I can still watch the questions on the chat, but while I'm watching the questions on the chat, okay, try to use this QR code, okay? There's a quick survey, guys. I have not been on there. I don't know what they're asking. Who knows? They might ask, you know, hey, you know, do you really want this guy freaking doing the stuff over here or whatever? It's okay. You put down whatever, but it's a valuable survey because I imagine the thinking behind it is that, you know, if we can change up some of the trainings or do whatever, your input is very, very, very valuable, okay? So I'm going to look at the chat drill box, you know, is there age limit on tires? There's an industry practice. They are definitely working on coming up with regulations on that. There are on YouTube, blah, blah, blah. Chats are going so fast. Never know was helpful. Type in why. Great job. Thanks. Okay. They are on YouTube, but there are commercials and no handouts. I think I think on the ATTS site, I believe when he did his automotive, said that if you go on his sites, you can get those, you know, so on and so on. You know, thanks, Swede. It doesn't look like there's anything.
Go to the ATTS site for now. The handouts are there. Today I'll get this thing up. I want to thank you, Swede, and I want to thank every one of you guys for coming out. When Swede has time, we'll find out his new date for April. We'll be doing another day, like we said. At that point, we'll probably announce the date of the hands-on heavy-duty AC club. So thank you again for coming out. From there.
Yep, no, thank you. Thank you, Chief, for allowing me to do this, and thank you for everybody for being on. So we'll call it. Thank you.